taking. Today, I want to talk about how to take notes as a note taker. Now, you may think that taking notes for the deaf would be no different, or for anybody else actually, is no different than taking notes for yourself. But you'd be surprised to find out that there is a difference. When you take notes for yourself, it's easy to get careless and sloppy and draw pictures and do whatever, arrows. And later on, when you go back to those notes, you'll remember what you meant and you'll be able to understand everything really clearly. But if someone else took a look at those notes, they would probably have absolutely no idea of what you were trying to say. So, when taking notes for other people, it's really important to be organized and careful about how you do it. The first part that's really important for a note taker is to be on time for class. Now remember, during the first 5 minutes of class is when the most important information may take place, such as announcements for tests or quizzes, when a paper is due. Just lots of important announcements are given, and if you're late, the deaf person has no way of knowing what's happening. The second thing that's really important is to be unbiased when you're taking those notes. Now, you may have strong feelings about subjects, and the teacher is giving the total opposite of your beliefs. You have to be very careful and write down what the teacher is saying. You can't let your own values influence your notes. Your values aren't going to help that deaf person pass that class. He has to learn what the teacher wants him to know. And if he disagrees with it, he can decide that on his own later. Each page should be numbered with the course number, and the title of the class should be at the top of the page, and the date should be on the page. You should use a black pen, and you should be able to write legibly. Now, if you cannot write and be clear, and you have no way of changing the way that you write, a note-taking job may not be for you, because it's very important for that person to be able to read your writing. A teacher may get going on a lecture and start talking extremely fast and throwing out lots of facts and information, all at once. And it may be too much for you to write down. Well, what you can do is you can leave blanks. And it's okay to go up to a teacher during a break or after class and ask for clarification for whatever it is that you missed. It's very important for the deaf person to get all the information, or as much as possible. Spelling is important also. Now, if you're a bad speller, you can still be a note taker. Lots of times you have time to rewrite the notes outside of class. And during that time, you have use of a dictionary at hand. Now, if that's not the case, and your notes are due right after class, what you can do is write a little SP over over the words that you're not sure how to spell. So, when the deaf person looks at these, they can understand that that's not the way you spell something, or you're not sure, and they can look it up for themselves. It's very important to use white space. Now, you normally would probably not use that white space when you're taking notes for yourself. But when as a note taker, you want to be careful of your white space. Now, what that means is that you don't have to squeeze lots and lots of information on one page. Your managers will give you as much paper as you need. So you don't have to be too conservative with the paper that you're using. You should leave wide margins on each side, about 1.5 inches. And this allows the deaf person to add on any information that he or she would like to, that they would like to afterwards. So he may need to write something to clarify or to help him better understand a point that was being made, and can use those margins to do it. Marking points of emphasis is very important, such as titles and topics. So, when you have 13 pages of notes, and the deaf person looks back at them, it's very easy for him to tell when topics are changing and where sections are ending and starting. Now, you can mark these points of emphasis by underlining, heavy underlining. You can use stars or bubbles or little pictures, anything that will catch his attention. Also, test dates. You may want to put a huge bubble around it and arrows pointing to it in every direction, just so that it catches his eye, and then he will look there. Organization is very important. Your notes should be organized and easy to follow. If you get messy and don't follow a pattern, they become very hard to look at. Abbreviations are very helpful. You should try to learn as many as you can. Let's take, for example, if you're taking notes for the class organizational behavior. Okay? And that word keeps popping up over and over again. You may just talk to the deaf person and figure out an abbreviation between the two of you. That will save your hand from writing that word over and over and over again. And because it's such a long word, you're losing lots of time. So, abbreviations help a lot. It's also important to get feedback from the teachers, the students, and your manager. I would say that the student would give you very good feedback, since he's the one who's learning from your notes. If it's going well, and he's learning a lot, he'll be able to use them, and that's great. If he's not, and he's having problems, he could probably give you some pretty good suggestions as to what you're missing or what he needs. Maybe he needs more vocabulary defined, or he needs you to leave more space on each page, or whatever it is, they can really let you know. Your managers also are familiar with many problems that students have, and they were probably note takers themselves once, and they would be very happy to help you with any problems that you may be having. The teacher also would be a good one to go to make sure that all the information you're writing down is accurate. If you have any questions, they could easily solve them for you, especially if you're not very familiar in the background of the subject that you're taking notes for. Well, I hope this information given has been helpful and that you've learned something and that it will help make your note-taking job that much easier.